100 marks. Let's make this way. Some 2 of them are more marks, so that you get with 8 questions overall 100 marks. I explicitly put here in that section some recommendations for the exercises. For some of them I pointed explicitly when we did it, like the little exercise with linear, non-linear, some of the things, so I would recommend to have a look at this again. Then the one lab, which we did for the cantilever, you remember that was this thing where we simulated. You can make photos, but you have it in Moodle. No problem. Maybe you want to make a picture of me with it. That's something you don't have in Moodle. Yeah, one of the things which were maybe not so trivial was the question how to match a FEM model with the lumped parameter model. So, for example, what mass to use and what else did we adjust? Particularly the mass was a problem. So that's all explained in the description of that lab. So this is something definitely useful, I guess, for preparing for the exam. The lab 4 regarding the 1D wire, where we discussed what is going on during the FEM simulation. That is something related to question 8. Just to give you some key points, which is also addressed in that lab 4. How the stiffness matrices or system matrices arises depending on the meshing, on the geometry dimension 1D, 2D, 3D, and also on the dependent variables. So we discussed it here on the whiteboard, but it's also discussed in the. This is something I think I mentioned it when we discussed it. You should be able, if you have a 2D geometry with a linear mesh, let's say, and temperature, only temperature as a parameter to be calculated. So it's single physics. What is the dimension of the matrix? Things like this. You find information here. So do this again if you're not, if you're a bit uncertain, maybe. And then basically the things we just did together, exercise 12 to 13, we just did it. Have a look at the slides regarding the material things here. And then maybe I also should explicitly mention you can have handwritten sheets. How it's called, sheeting sheets. These things if you take some notes with you in the Excel sheeting notes. Or, anyway, you can have two of them. A calculator and, if useful, English foreign language dictionary. Probably not necessary for you. I hope the English is clear enough, and if it would not be, then the dictionary wouldn't also help. Yeah. The grading for the outside program is 70% from the exam, 30% from the mini projects. For the other people, it's 100% for the grade. The day is already set, and it's 90 minutes. Maybe I also should mention it. It used to be sometimes 120 minutes, but it was longer, so we reduced it, and also the examination shrinked a little bit. At least I shrinked it accordingly. I saw some still have 120, but we have just 4 semester weeks, semester blah blah blah. Yeah. Anyway, I think you will read through this more carefully. Any question at that point? For yeah.
Is that 2 A4 sheets or one double-sided with a cheat sheet?
You mean what that means? It means two of this.
Two?
One here, two of this. It's good you ask me. Is it expressed in the wrong way? 202, 2 times 2 means 4. So that was the idea. But I know that can create confusion. So it's good you asked. Two of this.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is it allowed to write it on the tablet and then print it out?
Do whatever you want.
Okay.
Probably we get a world record example of shrinking some things. You probably should also ask if you're allowed to bring with you a microscope.
I don't.
I'm not too fancy about this. I mean, if you... It's probably a technique you already developed very well during your bachelor study. You know how to generate them. I think it contains a lot of information if you take it seriously. So go through this, and we have this additional event. Let's call it event. So if you find problems here, we can talk about this. I already had an idea when to meet. I think I put it in the information, like one week before. I would settle it already, but on that day when I would like to meet you for questions, I have another examination. So the time is not settled. If I know the time, I can make suggestion when to meet. This 30th, here I put it, it's a Tuesday, and I would suggest to meet 1 week before, that you still have a distance. But what time I cannot confirm now, because I have to wait until I know for the other examination where I have to be. Any other? Yes.
Are there old exams or maybe some, for example, some basic questions I could read or learn, or some examples what would be, or how would it look?
Yeah, I understand that point. You know, that was already asked in the very beginning, and my answer was I could do this, but from my experience, that would probably not be the better version for you. I know for several years now how to put it. So if I give you examples, I cannot use this example. So I better do type of questions where I know that people are capable, or how difficult it is for them to answer, that they can make a good mixture for designing it. If I make sample exams, then they are burned, because I obviously cannot use them anymore.
And this is something I need to know, or need to have in my head from COMSOL itself. So like how to set up a model is clear step by step.
Yeah.
But what exactly also, so how deep should I know how to use COMSOL on the paper in the exam?
Yeah, that's a good question. For example, here, meshed. One thing is meshing. So you should know some general things about meshing. For example, the linear mesh, quadratic mesh. I'm sorry, I'm missing sleep, so I'm having difficulties finding the words. So you should know some general things. For example, here we discussed something about the meshing strategy. Start with a physical created mesh, so a default mesh, and then check the regions where things happen, and then maybe increase it to something like this. General things. The idea is also, because we did a lot of examples, so that you are aware of some techniques. So if you did these exercises, you should not be surprised to explain, for example, what is a distribution. So this is, I think, the best way to describe. if you worked with these things, if you did the mini project, if you did the examples we did here, so that would be the level I might ask you also, but nothing above this. So of course you don't have to reconstruct a whole console model thing,
So I
but
don't need to print small screenshots from Strongsoil on my cheat sheet to know what exactly is the
You-
name of
you-
this table or.
yeah, of course you can do, but not useful, I think. Yeah. I hope I could express it. You need to know the general things we discussed, which are on the slides, and then some practical things, which I would expect if you have done the exercises, if you done things, then you should be aware of this anyway, because you used it.
How many questions? Like, is there sub questions or is there one main question per?
There are some questions, yes.
Yeah.
And if possible, they are also independent. General, I think there are maybe 4 sub-questions.
Per thing?
Yeah.
No problem.
General is, yeah.
4 sub questions per 10 marks, and then 8 sub questions for 20 marks, or 4 questions per?
Here for the first one, total 10 marks.
Yeah.
So, but these are sub questions.
Yeah.
So the 10 you collect by maybe 1 question with 2. So
And then 20 marks? There
20
is
marks is for
more sub questions or same sub questions?
a bit more,
Yeah,
more sub
makes
questions. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, this is something, usually I don't do it, but I realized many of these other courses, they have this 100 points. In a way, it's a bit ridiculous. It should be 100 points, but so I just trimmed it that way. If I got more content, I made it a bit longer. Yeah. And I try to, I think I make it reasonable, but general, for example, to give one more detailed information, we have this thing here, modeling of building blocks. That is something which may be addressed in general. You remember we have spring mass stamped oscillator, and we have a capacitor, and identify this for classical MEMS, things like this.
What is the calculator for? If I forget my calculator, I am ruined for the exam. What?
The calculator, I think you need it from time to time if you're not a genius with in your head. We discussed a little bit about this MEMS cantilever lab, and if I remember correct, we found a strategy to calculate the mass according to the frequency we found. So if you have to calculate this, is the square root of, what is it, spring constant over mass.
Yeah.
So for doing calculations like this.
Yeah. Okay.
So preferably you have your calculator. If individuals forgot them, probably 1 or 2 calculators I may provide, but it would be better
If you have your.
if all of you have your own calculator. Physics boundary conditions and study types. Maybe start with the study types. We had this static simulation. What else did we have? Transient simulation, not so much. Swept simulations. We did it several times. We did it today. So you should be aware how to configure a swept simulation. What you have to do, first of all, you have to define a parameter and the global definition and the whole thing, This would be an example. And physics boundary conditions, yeah, I mean, that's what we did with different examples. In mechanics, you need to fix it somewhere and you have a load, or in electrics, we put a ground and forced current in there, things like this. Math background, I mean, I referenced here to that exercise, which covers at least some, not all. Physics background, we discussed this partial differential equations up to the Maxwell equations. So I will not expect you to know the meaning of all the symbols, like that capital E is the electric field and P the displacement field. If you would need, I would provide you that names, but then you should do something with it.
Yeah.
You should be able to interpret. From my point of view, I mean, it maybe looks not so much, but there's already a lot of information you can make use of, and that should provide you good way to prepare for the examination. Any other questions? To finally announce the question event, I'm pretty sure I will use the day 1 week before that final examination day, and about the time I will send you an information in Moodle. Is there any preference from now to have it in the morning or in the evening or during midday? No?
Midday.
Midday?
That doesn't really matter.